Welcome to the Traditional Way podcast, brought to you by the Martial Arts Center Network. I am your host, Brett Shumway. Continue to support all the great programming our network has to offer. Make sure you like us and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and the content that we have on our website at www.mainternetwork.com. Also, keep up with who's who in the WKF by following my Facebook page, where I bring you the Athletes to Watch series, as well as our other hosts on the network that are putting out great karate content on a regular basis. On this episode, we are going to break down the results from the third Premier League event of the 2024 season that took place April 19th through the 21st in Cairo, Egypt. And it did not disappoint. Right? We have become accustomed to, on the Premier League, the organization's top athletes are going to battle it out, right? And gain points to that coveted grand winner status and the honor of wearing the gold embroidery on their gis for the next year. Notable on the Premier League this year is that there is a ton of young talent, and they are champing at the bit to take over the divisions. And it led to a lot of unexpected early exits of some top-ranked competitors. But if this year has taught us anything on the Premier League, it's that the young people are not going to wait their turn. They are stepping up and taking over the divisions, and the old guards either need to step up or get pushed out. But let's start with something that is of note for Cairo, a notable absence. Yorgalis Salazar was not present. And this is unfortunate because it was due to an injury that was sustained in the final matchup of the final in Antalya. And what's a bigger deal is that with her missing it in the division that's completely packed with talent, is that it will most likely take her out of points contention for the grand winner this year, which would have been her third consecutive if she was able to secure it. Now, this is a situation that can occur because the Premier League this year is running events super tight, right? So they only had a month between Antalya and Cairo, and it was not enough for her to get healthy. But my issue with this is, look, Yorgalis has dominated this division for the past 2.5 years. So the top fighter is taken out of contention due to injury, not due because anyone has beaten her in the minus 50 kilogram division. So it's a tough way to lose out of the status in the division, and I just hope that she can get back on track and make it for the PKF Continental Championships next month. Let's take a look at what happened in Cairo. The minus 50 kilogram division started off with world number 5, Ermina Perfetto, losing in the elimination rounds. More surprising is that world number 2, Reem Salama, also had an early exit, losing to Sarah Sutsumi, setting up a quarterfinals that started with Emma Scardelli beating Katarina Rodriguez 6-2. The next fight found Celia Oiken losing to Modir Jangarbe by Senshu. Sofia Balcazar would easily defeat Asia Agus 6-0, and Ghana Ali would answer her countrywoman's loss, beating Sutsumi 3-0 to advance into the semis, setting up a young semifinals with all 4 being 26 or younger. In that round, Modir would beat Emma and Ghana beat Sofia, setting up the final matchup where Ali would secure her first ever gold in the Premier League. This is a bigger feat for her as this is her first time in the veterans division. The former junior world champion will look to make her mark in the division in the future, but this is a great start. Celia and Sofia would take home the bronze medals in the division. What a difference a year makes in the minus 55 kilogram division. There were a lot of unexpected exits early in this division. Antalya's winner, Bella Shemasheva, American hopeful Trinity Allen, world number 2, Luisa Alberici, Paris's winner, Ari Shima, and world number 4, Tuba Yonkin, all left Cairo disappointed and as they lost in the elimination rounds. In the first fight of the quarters, Valentina Munesis beat Ksenia Dronkanka 3-0. Salma Hassan would get spread by Veronica Bunori 9-1. Maria Stoli would win over Mia Baich 3-1, and Viola Lalo would beat Choke Sanistrani 3-1. In the semis, Valentina beat Veronica and Maria defeated Viola, setting up a final matchup in which Valentina would secure her first gold in the Premier League by routing Maria 10-2. The bronze medals were secured by Veronica and Viola. Now, Cairo is beginning to have a theme as some top 10 competitors exit early in the minus 61 kilogram division as well. Fatma Nazienin is starting to look like her silver at the World Championships was a fluke as she has failed to reach Premier League quarterfinals for the 3rd time this year. Antalya's winner Shai Jai would not return to the finals as she loses early, and now former world number 1 Anita Sergina would not just lose, she would fail to score a single point in her first couple matches, seeing her second early departure in a row. The quarterfinals started off with Alexandra Sholhova losing 3-1 to Sarara Shimada. In the second fight, Reem Kamas defeated Yuki Kajuro 1-0, Anna Joanna Nilsson would edge out Alexandra Grande 3-2. And in the last matchup, Nina Radjanovic defeated Laura Sever 3-2 as well. The semifinals had Anna over Nina and Reem over Sarara, both matches being decided by 1 point. And in the finals, it was Reem Kamas that took a 2-0 victory to secure her first Premier League gold. Alexandra and Sarara took bronzes. The minus 68 kilogram division had an interesting tiebreaker that caused world number 1 and reigning grand winner Ilana Corsi to be eliminated in the first round. The three in the pool all went 1-1 in causing a three-way tie. The tiebreaker came down to the top two having the same points scored, and it was the points scored on them that determined the winner coming out of the pool, with the one that had the least amount of points scored against her winning. Setting up a final 8 to have some new names. In the first matchup, Ada Eltimer defeated Psycho Zafania 6-5. The next matchup was Maria Mejas over Farrell Abdelaziz. In the third round match was Subasa Kama beating Sudnor Aksoy 1-0, and Silvia Semeraro defeated Sadia Bersarovic 3-1. In the final four, Ada topped Maria and Subasa defeated Silvia, setting up a final where Subasa would win the gold by a score of 4-2, winning her first gold in the Premier League. Sudnor and Maria would secure the bronze medals for the division. The over 68 kilogram division was the only female Kumite division with no surprises in the elimination pool. The quarters started off with Cleo Ferracuti beating Teodoso Giamuki 8-2. Next, Maria Garcia won by decision over Taida Kinanen. Joanna Kinnear easily beat Neve Jr. 6-0, and Sofia Barot-Selva would defeat Nancy Garcia 7-2. In the semifinals, Maria beat Cleo and Joanna beat Sofia, setting up a rematch from the final in Antalya. And this time, the match would be closer, but Joanna still won 4-1. Sofia and Taida won bronzes. The female Kata division started off with American Sakura Kokomai getting the short stick in the draw and having to face Maho Ono in the elimination round, where Ono would win a showdown where they both ran Papa in by 0.8 points. Additionally, top-ranked competitor Teriana D'Onofrio gets knocked out in the elimination rounds by Natsugi Shimizu, and Delaria Bozan, coming off her bronze in Antalya, gets knocked out in eliminations as well. Setting up a final 8 where Maho Ono would defeat Aya Hashem in the first matchup by 0.7 points. The second matchup found Saiko Uzuma beating Marisa Auchi by 1.1. In the third match, Kiri Mishima defeated Natsugi Shimizu by 1.2 points. And lastly, Grace Lau would easily defeat Nakaji Hisami by 1.7 points. In the semis, Ono would defeat Azuma, denying Saiko her third final in a row. And in the other matchup, Mishima would make up for her loss in Antalya by narrowly beating Lau by 0.1 points. Setting up a final between Ono and Mishima, where Kiri would win her first Premier League gold medal, beating Ono by 0.5. Grace and Saiko would win bronze. To start out the men's in the minus 60 kilogram division, Ire Samdan will not see his third final this year as he loses early. And world number 6 Angelo Crescenzo leads early as well, as he would lose to the number 50th ranked fighter. The quarters kicked off with Hiramu Hoshimoto spreading Kaiser Alpaspe 8-0. Danilo Greco would squeak by Zayed Ali 1-0. Abdullah Shaban would win 4-0 over Abanyaga Guliev, and Abdallah Hamad would beat Christos Zinos by 1 point. The semis had Haman over Shaban and Hashimoto over Ali, with the final matchup being an exciting back and forth where Hamad would secure gold in a 9-8 victory. Zinos and Alpaspe took home the bronzes. The minus 67 kilogram division did not have any surprises in the elimination rounds, but I want to give credit to American Evangelos Akde for his Premier League debut, where he won 2 out of his 3 matches, and losing to another young fighter that has 30 ranking spots on him in the U21 division in a very close match. So it was a good showing for him as the young man looked to step up in age and class. The quarterfinals found Syed Abaya winning by Senchu over Vinicius Figuera. Second match saw Luca Maresca lose to Didar Amirali 6-4. Next, Afif Gaeth defeated Tomas Fuentes 6-2, and Abdel Al-Mustafa beat Georgios Balodis 8-4. In the semifinals, Abdel beat Afif and Saeed won over Didar, setting up Saeed's third final this year, where he would lose an exciting fight to Abdel 13-9. Afif and Vinicius both won the bronzes. Just when you thought you've seen everything in the Premier League, the minus 75 kilogram division left you shaking your head and looking for a rulebook. In Pool 4 in the elimination rounds, 3 fighters all fought each other to a 1-1 tie. 2 out of 3 matches ended that way with no Senshu advantage, and only 1 fighter ended up with a win. So meaning the pool ended up with 1 fighter moving on because of the win. I am not sure this has ever happened before, but it's the first time I've seen it, and I scoured the rule book to find out how this could happen. Finds out that in the round-robin format, if there is no winner by Senshu in a tied fight, they do not render a decision in the elimination rounds. Each fighter gets 1 point each towards their total points in the pool. But after that excitement, that was pretty much it in the elimination rounds. Everything else happened as it should have. The quarters started off with Omer Yur beating Yusei Sakiyama 5-0. Youssef Farag would win by decision over Andriy Zapolitini. Enzo Berthin defeats Lorenzo Pietramarchi 2-1. And Abdelaziz wins over Hamza Turulja 5-0. In the final 4, Abdallah spreads Enzo and Omer beats Yusuf, setting up Abdelaziz to go for his 7th gold in as many events. And he would come out victorious once again in a 5-3 victory, proving why he's the top of this division. Yusuf and Enzo both won bronzes. Big surprise in the minus 84 kilogram division was Pitar Spazanovsky making it out of the elimination rounds. He came into Cairo the number 42 ranked fighter and won out in the first round to make it to the quarters, where he would lose to Valery Sonyik in the first fight 4-1. The second fight saw Yusuf Badawi continue his onslaught in the division, beating Matteo Fiore 7-1. Ivan Kvesic would beat Valery Chobatar 1-0, and Mohamed Al-Jafari beat Fale Mironi 2-0. In the semis, Mohamed beat Ivan and Yusuf beat Valery, setting up a final between world number 1 and world number 2 that would not be close. It appears Mohamed did not like losing his number 1 ranking as he beat Yusuf 12-3. The bronzes went to Valery and Ivan. Surprising early exits in the over 84 kilogram division as world number 2 and reigning grand winner Rizan Talibov and world number 3 and Antalya winner Angelo Kvesic both losing the elimination rounds. The quarter started off with Rodrigo Rojas would have to bow out to Osman Osmanali due to an injury in the match, where it appears that Rodrigo twisted or sprained his left knee and couldn't continue. Let's hope he recovers soon. Sanad Sufayani defeats Rob Timmerman 7-4. Hossein Daki beats Azaman Gurbanali 9-6. And Taha Tariq Mahmoud defeats Hazim Mohammed 5-0. In the final 4, Taha beats Hossein and Sanad beats Osman, setting up the final where the world number 1 would lose 5-4 to Sanad, giving Sanad his first Premier League gold medal. Rob and Hassam both took home the bronzes. In the male kata division, it was surprising that there was no upsets in the elimination rounds. Generally, we expect 1 or 2, but in Cairo, there were none. What I found great in the elimination rounds was the debut of American Ray Chinen. He won 2 out of his 3 matchups, with his only loss being to the reigning world champion Ali Sofoglu. Not a bad first time out for the Premier League, if you ask me. The quarterfinals found Ali Sofoglu beating Ryuji Moto by a half point in the first match. Ariel Torres defeats Enes Ozdemir by a half point in his match. Aoi Funada defeats Kazmoto by 0.6. And Kakura Nishiyama easily wins over Sakichi Abe by 2.2 points. In the semifinals, Kakuro defeats Aoi and Ali beats Ariel, setting up a final matchup between the reigning world champion and the reigning 2-time grand winner. In the end, Kakuro dominated this matchup, winning gold by 1.7 points. Ayo and Ariel would secure the bronzes. In closing after Cairo, one thing that stood out to me was the amount of close fights. Listen, it's going to happen, especially when you put that much talent in one room. But the amount of times it happened was way more noticeable in Cairo. Now, I didn't really see a bunch of techniques not being called, so you can't blame the officials for the scores, which, to be fair, is usually who gets the blame. What I did see is not a lot of engagement from the fighters. But again, being tentative is a common result when you're fighting another top-notch athlete. I hope the influx of youth can get over this because we all want to see high-scoring fights. I mean, even though this is an international organization, it's not soccer. Fans don't really want to watch a 0-0 tie and it go to a decision. I'm hopeful that this doesn't happen, this doesn't become the norm at least, and we start to see more engagement and faster-paced, higher-scoring fights in the future. Also, there were a lot of first-time winners in Cairo. This may have been the most I've seen at one event where half of the divisions were won by someone who has never taken gold in the Premier League before. New winners always push the envelope and create better competition. I'm glad to see it, and I hope it continues. On the kata side, one thing has to be said. Kata choice. Look, Ryuji Moto has run Jite in the late in the divisions for the second event in a row. And both time he runs it, he gets destroyed by 2 full points or more. He ran it again this time against Ariel, who has been a tough, to be fair, he has given a tough matchup to Ariel in the past with different forms. I believe he has at least 2 wins in head-to-head matchups over Ariel. So why would he run this form in the bronze medal matchup? I'm not sure. But for me, I would think after 2 big L's on a form, it was time to change something up. And lastly, I want to take a moment to comment on something the WKF advertising team did that just doesn't sit right with me. The WKF ran ads for Cairo on multiple platforms showcasing current world champions, which is fine. The issue is none of them were on the ads were going to be in Cairo. And this isn't a situation where they were registered and they backed out. They were never registered. And in fact, the 2 in question have been absent from the Premier League all year. I get you want to put your best foot forward, but it isn't like there's a lack of talent on the Premier League. I just think if you want to promote an event, how about showcase the competitors that you know are going to be there? I don't know. How about someone that is actually in contention for the grand winner this year? I think the WKF could and should have done better with this. To me, it's the equivalent of running an ad for the NBA Finals with last year's video footage and the team that isn't in the finals this year. Look, at the end of the day, the WKF does better than most at making big stars out of their champions. But there are new champions every year. They deserve just as much credit for that achievement. And I know you have the footage. The Premier League is the most televised karate event in the world. And there's tons of footage with this year's winners. With WKF banners in the background, I may add. Just saying, you're the premier traditional organization in the world. These little oversights are beneath you. But with that, guys, join me on the next episode where I will bring you the results from the Oceania Continental Championships, as well as break down some of the exciting things that has happened thus far on the Premier League. Please continue to support this podcast and all the great programming we have on the Martial Arts Internet Network, as we will continue to provide you with all the goings-on in the martial arts community. Until next time, guys.